Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of Diablo 3. My name is Wilfred, and today let's talk about the starting your in-game journey in this game. Now I know some of you just started playing this game because you may have seen me featuring some of these videos on my channel. Some of you may be lapsed player like myself who hasn't been really playing this game for quite some time and just come in and out a little bit and been kind of lost. Like you've got a level 70 character or 60, 70 character, and you think that, wow, you know, I would like to start my end game journey, but how do I go about? What can I do? How to read all this gear? What can be thrown away? What should I keep? And so on and so forth. So this video is going to be a very high level video to get you started. It's not going to cover all the details, but it's sufficient enough for you to get you started in this endgame journey. And I've just gone through it myself, starting to gear up and so on. I have a lot of fun in it, as I thought I'd like to share this experience with you. Now, if you are new to this game, Diablo, there are actually a number of classes like the Crusader, Monk, Wizard, Witch Doctor, and Demon Hunter, and so on and so forth. So, you know, you can play a guy character or, you know, girl character as well, doesn't really matter, just for your role-playing kind of sake. So you can start any character. Some may say this is better than what, but at the end of the day, I think it is more about playing what you enjoy playing. That's how I believe. You know, if this video is not about max or means of everything. So, you know, and when it comes to Diablo, there are two modes. One is the story mode, which is where you quickly level up to the end game, and the other one is adventure mode, which is more for end game. So in this video, I'm going to show you the adventure mode, assuming that you have already gone through all the story and so on. All right. Now, very unique to this game, of course, is the difficulty level. Now, there are many difficulties in that. You can start with say normal, then you can go hard, expert, master, then you can have the torment 1 and so on and so forth. I think previously was up to torment 6 or so on, but now they open up until all the way to a torment, like, you know, this is like a torment 13 and so on. Of course, the higher the torment, the higher the reward is going to be. And really what the end game is about you progressing through this torment. I like to take my time, but there are people who like to just rush through a thing as well. That's fine too. But you can actually work this way through, and by and large, you can actually find your own gear as you go through this. Now, there are two really important components to it I'd like to share with you. One is the time to live, the other one is time to kill. So what I mean by that is that sometimes your character may be able to survive a high torment, like maybe torment 6 or whatnot, you know, or even higher. But then your kill time is only, you know, maybe only like you know, a couple of torments lower and so on. So that's where it comes to the farm efficiency. So, you know, sometimes we would like to take the really high challenge, but then, you know, if it takes too long to do something, you kind of know, you probably want to scale down the difficulty a little bit level, sort of like get your gear and improve upon it, get a higher torment and so on. So the difficulty is always two components to it: how well you survive, how fast can you kill. So these two are kind of balanced in a way. There's no point in, you know, having a very good kill time, but then you cannot survive and so on. But you know, it's always good to find a balance whereby you are comfortable. Now, of course, if you are in a group and so on, you may pump up a little bit because the group kind of contribute to the whole dynamic. They may sort of like complement each other's power as well. And then some of your friends maybe have a higher gear or lower gear. So it is up to a group to slowly adjust as well. It's very fun in that sense, because every group I have to kind of find where the torment is, you know, is good for the entire group and so on. So that's one thing. So assuming that you have started on this journey and say that, well, let's go and start adventure mode. So this is where the end game start. Now, before I talk about the end game, because there are quite a lot of like content to cover here, what you can do, how you can gear and so on, let's talk about the gear, because I feel that only do you understand how the gear work at the fundamental level do you actually be creative, be confident, which gear can you throw away, which gear to equip and so on. Now, my gear is not fantastic, just want to let you know, but I do have the experience I'd like to share. All right, so now, when it comes to gear, you started off with, you know, there are different rarity to it. There are white gear, which of course is just, you know, for transmog, it's very nice, by the way. And then you have the blue gear, which is more like, you know, stopgap during leveling, but usually you don't care about those things. You have yellow one, which is the yellow gear. Sometimes you know, you may need to use it as you level up, and then after that you have the you have the gear that is legendary, which is an orange text to it. So these are the orange one. The orange one may or may not have the orange text to it. So if those that has an orange text are a little bit special than other, and also some of them has the word ancient to it. I don't really have one right now here. I've chucked it away somewhere. But some of them actually have a word ancient there, and that will become a better gear as well. So do pay attention to all these things when you collect all this gear from the orange and above. So you have the orange gear. Usually they come with the 4 primary stats and so on, and then after that 2 secondary stats, and you have the set gear as well. So things like this is a set gear because it's green in color, and there's a set bonus as well. As you collect the set, you get more and more ability and so on. So the whole idea, of course, is when you progress, you can't get better and better gear. Now, what is good gear? I think at the very fundamental level, assuming that you are you're not playing any very niche kind of build, right? Just a balanced build, right? Let's start with a balanced build. So from my experience, it depends on what kind of class you play. So I'm a Crusader. So my primary stat is this my primary stat. So it's that strength primary stat is for Barbarian and Crusader. Dexterity is for Monks and Demon Hunter, and Intelligence is for Witch Doctor and Wizard. So it's very clear which of the stat is for you. So you have a primary stat, and you have something called Vitality. Vitality is life. So you have more Vitality is more health, and when the health drops to 0, normally you die, or there's some ability that help you from not dying. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. So now once you get the concept right, meaning that you know your class, you know your primary stat, and you know your Vitality. In general, all the gear that you roll, you should you should have those kind of stats to it. So if you are collecting yellow gear, you should pay attention to those gear that has your primary stat as well as Vitality. At a very simplistic level, your primary stat should cover that. And also bear in mind that things like boots, things like what you call it, legs, as well as belt, those are more defensive kind of gear. So they have your primary stat and or your Vitality, for example, or any other things. But you also would like to have a little bit of a defense to it and stuff like that. So this is something that these 3 gear usually will give you that kind of stuff. And the gear like the hands and the bracer as well as the shoulder usually have more DPS kind of a theme to it, while the chest and the head items may be a bit more like a mix of the two. So you can actually shift whichever that you feel that you need more DPS or you need more survivability. You can use it to gauge from that onwards. So when you collect your gear, always primary stat and Vitality, and after that you may want to just pay attention to what kind of other stats you have to build a hero, both defensive as well as offensive, and you probably gauge along the way, am I doing enough DPS, am I not, and so on. So there's something I'd like to share with you. Really important. And another thing I'd like to share with you is that as you are collecting gear like the legendary gear, that you notice that there are some orange text to it that probably would sort of encourage you to use a certain build. You also may have some set gear that will also encourage you to use a certain build. Now there are multiple set gear for your class. It may be a little bit overwhelming at first, but eventually each class, after a while you can't remember. You have class, you have a set A, set B, and set C, and so on. So it is a matter of collecting the sets that you want and to collect the same set item as many as possible to get the set bonus, and to use a build to abuse all these advantage that you have. But in the event whereby you may not like the stats that you the set kind of power ability, then you may want to collect another set, which is fine as well. So I'm in the middle of collecting my gear towards the light kind of gear, which is the light, and of the light. Of course, you have another kind of arcane as well. So what it really means is that I'm in the middle of progressing my gear, which is very normal if you're starting off this whole end game journey. But eventually, you want to replace the item one by one to make sure that you get the same set item or thereabout, depending on what kind of build that you like. All right. So now that should sort of get you started on what you want to do. And also, as far as the build is concerned, you could always research a little bit on internet, like the icveins.com, which has a lot of Blizzard game kind of tips and guides and stuff like that. It's a good start to learn what are the viable builds out there. Now, these are more like cookie cutter kind of thing. If you don't like to read those guides, just get some idea, inspiration. You may modify your build accordingly. But in any case, whatever you do, just pick an elective mode, meaning that you can pick any power, without you can actually pick 2 powers in the same kind of like utility. These are laws, by the way. These are utilities, so you can pick multiple powers within, so long as the one that you find it helpful for you. So do elective mode. It will allow you to pick any power in the whole entire spectrum that you have. All right, so that is more on the build level. Now the next question, of course, is how do I farm gear? Because this game is a loot game, so farming gear is important. At the end game, from my experience, there are a couple of ways to farm gears. So the first thing first is called bounty. Now bounty is like, let me just zoom out. So if you play Diablo, you know that there are at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in different zones. So you see a bonus here. That means that if you do any quest here, you will get a bonus. Now, what it does is that it tells you that you have to kill Magda, you have to go to the cursed shadow, you have to kill Mage Lord, so and so, kill whoever, and clear the eastern kind of channel. Now, what it really means is that these are the quests. The first time you do it, probably take forever to do it. And I also recommend not to take a too high a torment, because you just want to get through it as fast as you can. But of course, the higher the torment, the better the reward is going to be. Now, so what are the reward when you do all these legendary quests, all these quests, so on? Is that all these bounties? Sorry, I've been playing other games as well. So if you complete all these 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bounty, you get a whole bunch of gold as well as the XP. Gold is important, by the way, and you get a cache there. This is the Reforging cache. Inside they have a lot of very good items inside, including some rings and so on that help you a lot in the whole end game journey, and also give you a material. I'll talk a little bit about it later. The material is important when it comes to end game crafting, and the crafting is very it's kind of easy as well. So don't need to think too much. Just do those that have a bonus to it, because you get a double kind of thing. So, all these things will have a bonus to it. So you can complete the Act 2, some of these quests and so on. And after that, you can move on to, they'll have another bonus for you. So the bonus is on rotation. After you've done one, you can go to the other one. You can do it non-stop. You can do it as much as you like, I think. But usually I do a couple of them. I get I do some other things in life. So, but you can just keep doing all this bounty. It gives you a lot of drop and so on. Now, what is in the bounty? There are things like the material that I'll show you in just a bit, which is this type of material, which is they will tell you which act does it. Like, for example, this corrupted angel flesh is from Act 4 of the Reforging cache. Then you have the Ariad War tapestry. Then you have the Chaldean nightshade from Act 2, and the Kanduran rune, which is from Act 1. Act 5 would be the holy water. So all these are very clearly set to you from where. Now, all these things are very important for your crafting. In just a bit, I'd like to talk a little bit about that. But do all these bounty, and also on top of that, beside the legendary that will drop for you, you get something called the blood shard. Now, blood shard is something that you could. There's a cap to it, so you can't really hoard it. So once you get a blood shard, you can buy gear as well. I'll talk a little bit about that in just a bit. But it helps you to compensate your bad luck in a sense. So sometimes in a game like Diablo or any loot kind of game, some of us, myself included, could be quite bad luck. We keep playing and nothing drop really according to what we want. So with the blood shard, you can actually buy stuff from the vendor to counter your bad luck, to have a chance to get more stuff and so on. And also, one thing about Diablo 3, you may have gone for a while, is that the loot drop is very relevant to your character, which is great, because back in the old day, the drop, you can look at it and say, wow, I don't use intelligence. Why are you giving me intelligence? But now, all the loots that drops really relevant to your character. So it's really nice. You do not need to do trading. Now, of course, if you play with friends, you can drop and trade around, but you can by and large get by with just yourself here, which is kind of great, I think, for those who like to just using your own solo effort. There's no you can always do that. Now, so bounty is the first thing that that you should start doing when you play the start the end game journey. Another one is a rift. Now the rift is somewhere here. They say that the obelisk, the Nephilim obelisk. Now rift itself is a very, very fun end game. It challenges you a great deal because you get to get to do a higher difficulties and up to a point whereby you find that it's not efficient anymore, and then you stay there and try to farm some gear, and which is rather manageable, and after that you can increase. So you can see progressive kind of improvement as you play this game. Now, in order to do the greater rift, which is what the prize is, you will start with the Nephilim. Nephilim is the one that you can go in, and it's like there are many maps inside. You can check out some of my video on the rift as an example. You just keep filling up the bar or progress bar that you can see. If you play Blizzard game, you probably have seen some of these things before. Is that there is a progress bar, and if you kill any of those elite pets, they will drop an orb, then you can collect and then fill up the bar. Then the end boss, called the Guardian, will come up. You down the Guardian and you get your loot and get a key. So with the key, you can do Greater Rift. Now Greater Rift is one that is really, really fun because that is the one that you could adjust on what kind of difficulties you want. The last one I did was a Torment 10 with my friends. But if I'm alone and I'm not that, I just want to relax and so on, I may want to try maybe 30 or 20, or whatnot. So it is very adjustable. Now, of course, the higher the Torment, the higher the level, the better all the jobs are and so on. So it is something that I would strongly recommend that you kind of play around this. Now, why do you want to play the Rift? The Rift is one of the places whereby you get a lot of XP. The XP will help you in the end game, which is the all the experience that you get will level up your Paragon level. Now, my Paragon level is not high as some of you experts have seen, but this is really to share my experience as I'm leveling up. Is that it is a very nice, robust way to gain points to help you get your heroes to be better in all the heroes that you have. And as you gain experience point, you gain this kind of Paragon point, and you can put any points here. You can reset it and do something else to it. What have you? So it's a very simple to use system, and by and large any XP will contribute to it. So the Rift is a very, very nice way for you to get the XP. Another thing that is nice is also the gems, because you have something called legendary gems, like this one here. If you see the orange text here, the Bane of the Powerful, then you can see again 20% increased damage for whatever after killing an elite pet, for example. And after that, you have a second one, which is unlocked when it is at rank 25. So now you start with a gem that is like level rank 1, very much a Path of Exile kind of thing. But you can level up the gem. This is one example. Another example is, I think I've got another one in my ring here. So this one is the Gogok of Swiftness, which is the orange one there, which is gem that I have. Now it's rank 26 of 150. I gain Swiftness with every attack and so on and so forth. So that's one way as well. Then I think I've got, I may have another one somewhere, but I haven't really jammed it into it yet. But the idea is, as you're doing all this rift, once you can complete the rift within the time frame that you have a chance, you have 3 chances to upgrade the rank of your legendary gem. And of course the higher the difficulties, the more certainty you can upgrade your gem, because there's a chance of failure as well. If there's no death, you get extra bonus. So it kind of rewarding that not only it is challenging, but if you do something that you can manage within the time and do not die, you get 4 chance of upgrade. Of course, you can throw in some cash to empower it and get another chance, but I haven't really gone through that yet, because the advice usually is, unless you have a lot of gold and you may want to throw it around there, I don't know. But there's something that you could also consider. They'll tell you the price when you empower the Rift. All right. So now that is very much like the there's very much on the Rift itself. It's a lot of talk on this Rift, because I think it's one of the really, really fun part of the game that it's a very, very robust kind of end game, at least for me, as I'm starting this journey of getting in game gear and so on, and trying to get improve and get better and better. Gear wise, I mean, the Rift also drop plenty of legendary as well as set item, depending on difficulties level, of course. So it's very rewarding. And last but not the least, of course, there's also bloodstone that help you with this thing here. So if you are doing Rift, after a while you can get all this bloodstone and so on. So that's also rather nice. All right, so now that is the why the Rift and the bloodstone. Now I've been talking a lot about bloodstone, which is a currency for you to counter your bad luck, or sort of like, if you're not getting the drop in the difficulties that you're doing, and you could actually collect all this bloodstone, and bloodstone can drop in many places, and you can talk to a person, the Kadala. She's around in many places. Now you can get the weapons, but normally people do not advise to get a weapon because it does have pretty high cost. So you can do armor. I think armor is a nice thing. So like for example, you can look at the set that you have and see that maybe I've got like the hand, leg, feet, and torso. How about a shoulder? So for example, then I can try to. I got 384. Then I could also like the shoulder here. I can buy it using using all the currency I have, so I can start buying. Right, this is a yellow one, blue one, and eventually you'll get an orange one. Now normally my luck is not that bad, but looks like okay. So I got like so this is an invoker, which is not really that nice, and that's it. I think one more. Right, so in that case, I burn all my bloodstone. I only get like the invoker, which is not really my set item, but that is okay because this sort of thing is very easy to earn. As you play the game, you get another like couple hundred, and you come back here and do all these things that you like. So it's a very nice way to earn all this gear. I've earned quite a lot of my set item through this way, and of course some of the set item does drop for me, and you could also transmute some of the set item to another one, but I'm not going to go through too much detail for you. I don't want to overwhelm you with all this detail. Another thing is that so we talk about the bounty, we talk about the rift itself, we talk about the bloodstone vendor. Then the next thing I'd like to talk about is the Kanai cube. So now it is I think it's something new added during the Reaper of Soul, which is the last expansion. Initially it was very overwhelming. I didn't quite like what there's so much thing to do, but the Kanai cube is actually very nice end game crafting. So now what it does is that there are a couple of recipes. There are quite a lot of recipes. You can click through some of them and just to understand what it is. Not everything is fantastic, but there are quite a lot of a few things that are rather important. But I think to start you with the journey, I'm not going to do like everything here, but to start you with the journey, the most important thing is, to me, is this extraction. So you could actually extract one of the gear that you have, the legendary gear, and to become to extract the orange text. So for example, there's an orange text here, and you can extract that information out to be one of the collection you have. So once you have the collection, you can switch around. So for example, on top of all this gear I have, I'm having extra, like after killing 10 enemies, I release a poison nova that deal whatever damage, because I've extracted the essence from the legendary to be able to do the extra damage. Or I could do something like that. The first elite pack damage, the first time elite pack damage you gain a shield to absorb you. I find it rather useful for my survivability. May not be the best. I mean, right now I'm still going through my journey of end game, not the end game. So I'm still collecting all this orange text. So that is a nice thing. So it's always a max value. Sometimes when you roll all these fixes, it may not be the max value, but this one is always the max value. And then after that, you can have one more here that when you do a certain damage, you can have a chance to stun out. I don't really have a lot of rings to extract, but as you get more rings, you can get a lot of options. Now some of these options, like for example 45% chance when attacking to explode with demonic fury for whatever as fire. So that's also quite nice as one of the power that you have. So all these things could be rather powerful as you collect, and you can change this one anytime you like. So you can actually do a lot of very, very fun things here. Now to extract the power, maybe I'll do a very quick demo if I could just find something to extract for you. So maybe I would like to let me see one thing here. Maybe I just like to say, after earning a massacre bonus, gold rain from the sky. So this would be something that I would like to extract. To extract that, I need all these mats here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then all you need to do is just go over here to extract all this stuff here. So you just dump the thing inside. Sometimes it's good to check whether you have the power or not. So this is what Gladiator Gauntlet. So Gladiator Gauntlet is the G. So I don't have it yet. So if I do all these things, 3, 4, 5, 6, then I can do a transmute. So it will tell me that this item will be destroyed, but the power will be extracted. So I can do that right now and just and then after that, I will have the new power being extracted, which is over here. I can change this one to here anytime I like. So instead of using the St. Arthur's Gauge, I can use this one. All right. So it means that on top of all the gear that I have, on top of all the orange tags, all this ability, extra set bonus, whatnot, I have 3 extra affixes on my character. And these 3 extra affixes will always be a maximum value. So it's something that is very robust. What it really means is that as you play the game, even if you picked up a legendary that you do not use because it's not suitable for your build and so on, as of now, you can always extract the power later rather than just throw it away and say, well, and it become a very kind of nice end game as well, by the way. Transmog is one thing. You can change all your appearance of a hero using some of the gear that you have collected in the past. Transmog is one thing, but the other thing is more the collection wise. You have a lot of things to collect here, even if things that you are not use. You can extract all this power here and just do something with it. And I think it's a very robust way to play the game. So that is the Kanai cube. You have a lot of recipe there. You can check it out. I'm just show you the way. I'm not going to tell you everything that you need to know here. All right. So just show you the way. Now you have crafter here. It's going to be the end of the video, by the way. You have crafter here. Just a very quick summary of all crafter. This is basically to craft your weapon and armor. But as you gain the bounty chest, as you do rift, I think a lot of items can be farmed. So you don't necessarily need to craft any of this. But for leveling, I mean, sometimes it's quite fun because sometimes you want to get some nice gear, but you don't have it, and you craft it and so that you can do a higher difficulties to earn more XP. That is totally understandable. But I think at end game, the only thing I do is basically repair, of course, the salvage. So salvaging, like for example, all this yellow gear, I can click the button here. I can just become like crafting material, and also if you have white item, it go into white. Now, one question that many people ask, or I myself would ask when I first started the endgame journey, is that what item should I pick up? There's so many things on the ground. Should I pick up everything because I need a mat and so on? As you can see earlier on, when you exchange for all your bloodstone, which is part of your kind of like a gambling kind of like mini game, you get a lot of gear which is yellow and blue. So in general, you probably do not need to pick up any yellow and blue, provided that you have already get into the legendary and set kind of tier. So unless it is something that towards the end of the run and sort of my bag is empty, may as well click through all these things and go back town and salvage, which is fine. But as you play the game like bounty and so on, you want it fast, you want it quick. So I would not advise you to pick up anything that is like a yellow or blue, but I do advise you to pick up things that are white, because when you salvage a white item, you get I think 5 kind of like a reusable item, which is the white one, and you can transmute using a Kanai cube, just now you've seen, into in the random kind of material. So being white is the lowest of the tiers, so you can if your luck goes, you can go blue, I can go yellow, I can even go whatever. So I would say pick the white one, and also good for transmog, and forget about the yellow and the blue one. So that would be my advice. All right. So now that covered the forge itself. Another thing is a gem, of course. Now the in Diablo there are a few gem items. The head, usually people go for the white because of the cooldown reduction. The white square there, reduce cooldown of all skills by 12.5%. Usually those are pretty nice. This one is more of a primary stat, so for me it's a strength hero, so I put strength, but I presume for For the classes, you probably will pick the dexterity or intelligence. Weapon, usually people go for green, but do read up your guide or your build elsewhere. I'm not here to give you advice on this one. I'm just showing you what gems are there, for you to craft. Now, all these gems are the ones that you would collect while you are playing the game, different color, they're multiple color. You could combine the gems into a more powerful one. Now, they would start with show have material, so I would say just show all, because there are some that you do not have material, right? And you can craft your way through it. So for example, if you craft enough of this, then it can become this, and you craft enough of this, become this. This is probably like gold sink in this game. You get gold because you want to craft all these things. Or if you want to remove the gem as well, because you want to move this gem from this set item to another set item, you could too. You just drag it here to tell you how much it costs, and so on and so forth, and you just do it, get a gem out. So the gem is not really a lot of things to talk about. The last thing I would like to talk about is the enchant, which is somewhere here. This is something added in during the Reaper of Soul, I think, especially because the vanilla D3 didn't have it. I pretty much remember that. So this one is very, very fun. You could actually use this one to change how your affixes are. You can change one of the affixes, but not everything. Like for example, my build. Okay, let me put it here. Now these are the affixes that you can change, and you can only pick one to change. Once you pick that one to change, you cannot change your mind and say, well, what if next time I want to change this one? No, you can't. So you must pick one to change. And they'll tell you beforehand, like for example, I don't need to use bombardment because mine is the of the light gear. So of the light is more of the blasted hammer, kind of thing. So I know for sure I do not want the bombardment. So if I don't use bombardment, what can I do? I can actually do something else, like all these other things that you have. All right. So I'm using things like falling sword. Maybe I should roll until there's a falling sword. And that's one way to play as well. Now, of course, the more time you replace, the more expensive it will become. And to do so, you require mats as well. And why don't I, just to do a live demo to you. No, I would prefer this one at Vitality, but anyhow, why don't I just do a live demo to you? And I'm just going to use this item. But it's ancient, by the way, and change this guy to something else. I do have an ancient item. So ancient is something that would give you a better kind of stat. Maybe because I am actually, hang on a second, do I have something else that I can show you beside that one? Or maybe I do this one instead, because so for example, this one here, then I can say, I want to change one of these things, like maybe chance to deal area damage on hit. Then what can I replace it with? Maybe I want to reduce cooldown and so on. And then just click one of this button, and then you can get some of these things. So if I do this one here, for example, then I can say I don't want this. I can change, and after that I can pick one of these. So I can say, well, I can either do bombardment 15%, or I do a resist to all element, for example. So maybe I pick this one because it's higher from 10 to 15. We can pick the old one that you have. So what it essentially means is that you don't need to be worried about, like some other game is all random. It's like sometimes you get frustrated, you always get better one. But of course, the next time you do it, it'll be more expensive. So this price will go up, I believe. All right, so that is a quick demo on how this enchants work. And I think in closing, I hope you have some idea of how you start this whole journey. I think just to recap is that at end game, you go into adventure mode. You then, you have already understood how the whole gearing work, at least at the fundamental level. What stat to look out for, what kind of rarities are there, some of this build that you could use elective way. So that's the whole idea of the gear. And then we talk about how to farm gear, which is through the bounty, through the rift, and also through the bloodstone that you collect that you could exchange for more gear. And we talk about why you do the bounty, because you would like to gain more mats, get some the cash item inside, maybe some nice ring, bloodstone that you can collect. Why rift? The XP that you get, the legendary gem that you can rank up, the gear that you have, as well as the the bloodstone that you can collect. Then we talk about the Kanai cube as well. You can extract all these orange tags out from a legendary, and to make your character even stronger. We talk about the forge. We talk about the gem. we talk about the enchant as well. So I hope with that you will start your journey with complete confidence and to destroy Diablo again. Destroy the minions of Diablo again and again and again, and join me in this fight as well, because it'll be fun playing as a team. All right, so I'll see you next time. And if some of you are veterans and would like to share more information, do feel free to drop it in this channel, the comment below. All right, see you next time. Goodbye.